Alright, so that was the dead ending, I guess.
Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Are you sure? I have all day. Okay. I'm not sure if this was that down.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I walk downstairs. I want to see if I get the same ending. If I do get the same ending.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was...
Yeah, okay. So, that was definitely the dead ending.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Even if you reset it yourself. Oh, that is ridiculously awesome.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
That is ridiculously awesome.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845, 2845, 2845, 2845, 2845, 2845. I'm just gonna write it down. 2845.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
And I'm saying 54 here, man. Oh, so. Oh.
2845.
Nope. Can't do it.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination. If he knew that the combo was 2845, it would be another story entirely. But no, this is what he was going to do instead.
Okay. Awesome. So, even though you make it wrong, it's still gonna send you in here. I wasn't even supposed to remember it. So whenever I get a choice, I'm gonna make the different one and see what it is. Okay. This is weird. I wonder how many endings there are. For now, there have been in 2 endings, and I like that. I like the interaction of the game. I like the engine, or whatever you might call it. It's ridiculous.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
I'm probably gonna die, but who cares?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
What? Really? The pacing as the open section was important to get right. This corridor has been moved to alter to make sure the player reaches the two doors in a good time. Okay? This is a good the two doors. The set of two doors was a very first concrete piece of the Stanley Parable's design. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, an exploration of the contradiction this room posed. Office. This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the two doors was the first part of the game that was built sections. That was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development, though the core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. Let's just Stanley's computer. What is this over here? Filing cabinets. Office computers. And what is this? Okay. The office. Button sounds. A selection of sounds used throughout the game. When buttons are pressed, each sound is a mix of keyboard, stroke, and synthesized tone. Okay. Original music. Stanley Parable credits. Let's go to the left. The office. The maintenance room. An early version of the maintenance room. The point of Stanley HD remake is to lose. So the point of this game is to lose. The point of the Stanley is to win. Am I going crazy? Green light. War zone. Early in the we designed an ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient, and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that it was far too jockey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus some people interpreted? What the fuck am I even saying, man? Some people interpret. What am I saying? Interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. From forest, subject deer. There's this narrator emails. After the second trailer we sent out, we asked people to email the narrator for questions, while we had intention planned to use these in further promotional materials. We never found the perfect use for them. Here are a selection of those emails. The lounge, the office. The apartment timer. What? The inversion of apartment ending. A timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would... A cargo lift. Damn, there's a lot to this game, man. Damn, man. What? So... What? The flow of hallways following the first two doors was important to get right, since players will replay them so many times. We discussed a number of designs, but ultimately it was the simplest version that won out. The game is now paused. Escape menu. For a long time we had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Unfortunately, very few players realized this was what they were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. Sending levers. Those levers were originally a part of sending. The player would pull a lever and the narrative would describe what color lever they had pulled, okay? Sending. This screenshot depicts an early version of the ending known as the sending, which was eventually cut and merged with another part of the game. The sending model. The sending went through many iterations. This room represents the fourth version of the ending, and we thought it was complete, but decided to abandon and change it again shortly before launch. I like this a lot. Countdown disc. One of the discs from an early version of the countdown ending. I want to read more, man. I know it's annoying for people, but I'm probably just gonna make you skip it. Freedom ending. This is the freedom ending as it existed in beta. Damn. Monitor room elevator. Oh well. Countdown room. An early version of the countdown room. So what is up here? Stanley's office. From left to right, the evolution of Stanley's office over time. The first was created in 2011, the second in March 2012, and the third in February 2000. So did we just beat the game? The actual game?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time.
Okay. So hello? Hello? Anyone there? I can't see shit, man. I think I'm dead. So another dead ending, I guess.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Yeah,
Perhaps he
another
had
thing.
simply missed a memo.